Good afternoon, everybody. It's 1:20 in the afternoon, and it is the 13th of November 2025. Today is Thursday, and today, well, I'll tell you first where I'm at. I'm at Partizanski Platz, and there's a lot of parks around here. Matter of fact, there's some guy digging over here. I don't think he did that whole thing. He's not in one morning anyway. And so, if you know where Partizanski Platz is, or Partizanski Ploshad. A lot of people walking through here. I waited till a lot of these people walk by, and still more coming. I gotta go somewhere else probably. So anyway, so let me tell you what I'm going to be talking about today. There's a lot of things going on with as far as what looks like wag the dog sort of stuff. And Donald Trump is accusing the Democrats of wagging the dog by bringing up this Jeffrey Epstein thing. According to Donald Trump, as we all know, that's just a Democrat hoax. Epstein who? But it looks like to me, old Donald Trump, he's going to do his own little wag the dog. I hope he doesn't. Matter of fact, there's a dog over there right now, a little one. But if you know what wag the dog is, I guess there was a movie, and what it was about, I think maybe some politician. I don't even know if I saw that movie, to be honest with you. And what he was involved in some sort of a sex scandal or something. So in order to draw attention away from that sex scandal, he started a war with Albania, I guess, in the movie. But we have this thing going on with Venezuela looming, and of course Donald Trump is looking for some kind of a distraction. And sadly enough, a lot of things are pointing to where it's politically beneficial for him if he does, get himself into some sort of a trouble, or get America into some sort of a trouble by like bombing someplace or doing something really nasty anyway. I doubt it's going to be Iran. I was even saying that weeks ago. Everybody saying, "Oh, they're going to bomb Iran." I knew that. Yeah, he has too many other things on his plate. So, look at there's that dog. Look at it's going to wag she's going to wag that dog. So, anyway, like I said, it's this Jeffrey Epstein stuff. It doesn't seem to want to go away. Epstein who? Well, and a lot of this, it's when you think about like Richard Nixon, and he said it was after Watergate, and if you all remember that, well, most of you don't remember that. Some of you probably weren't even born. I don't know, but he had this Watergate scandal going on, as you know, and because he was spying on the Democrats apparently before the campaign, and he was caught. Kind of like Obama did to Donald Trump, but and he got caught, or he was found out later, and of course, no, that's no big deal. I guess it's no big deal anymore. So Obama can do it. Obama, as you know, he's got that charm and charisma, so he was able to get away with it, and everybody just does make a big deal of it. But any case, this what Nixon said after this Watergate. He said it wasn't the crime that did him in, but it was the cover-up. It was the cover-up that did him in, not the crime. So you see Donald Trump now, he's losing a lot of his base. It's because he's trying to cover up. He's trying to cover up what happened with Epstein. And it wasn't that he did anything with Epstein necessarily. And I mentioned in some other video that Hillary Clinton seemed to, well, I don't know, she loved Donald Trump for a little while there when Donald Trump was saying indicating at least that he's not going to be doing anything about, what this imaginary or real Epstein list of clients or whatever the deal is. And so I was thinking that maybe she's going to propose marriage to Donald Trump or something, because she was so happy about that. I don't know if it's maybe just Bill. There's other people. But, Donald Trump, he associates with a lot of these rich guys. And, a lot of them are off the hook. Donald Trump, as you know, he's the man with the deals. He made a lot of deals probably with these people. And who knows what it entails. Did he get a bunch of money? Maybe that's these trillions of dollars, because it certainly didn't come in with tariffs necessarily. I have no idea anyway, it's a lot of backroom deals, obviously, and none of us are going to know what's going on. And another element that I should talk about is, you guys remember that after Donald Trump, well, people that watch my channel, after Donald Trump was left alone to win the election against Kamala Harris, unlike what happened with Joe Biden. I mean, obviously, Donald Trump was far, far better than Joe Biden, and I don't know, you're probably not allowed to say that the Democrats cheated on that election, and they cheated. Well, you're not allowed to say that they cheated, and cheated big time, because that would be misinformation. I think YouTube will take a person down if you say that on there. I think that's one of the things that you... So I'm not going to allege that. I'm not going to allege that. That would be silly. So, but anyway, they started, I guess, in Pennsylvania. I think that was where the first votes were taking place, and it was some fanky-panky stuff, and then all of a sudden, bam, and, you know, they just didn't do it. So Donald Trump was allowed to win that election, and I was saying, because it doesn't make sense, the big, or the deep state, you know, Soros and some of those people, they don't like Donald Trump. And I mean, hey, it goes even like Zelensky and Keir Starmer, they all campaigned against him, trying to do everything, and, you know, paid in good money, and a lot of people marshaled their forces to make sure, at least as far as they thought, that Donald Trump wouldn't make it. But Donald Trump made it, and it's like, well, who called off the dogs? How did that happen? And the only one that I could suspect, and it's obvious to me it's obvious, I don't know about the rest of you, but it was Israel. Israel is the one. They're the only ones that have the power to go at least toe to toe with the deep state, and that's obviously what happened. And oftentimes they're involved with the deep state. You guys know this stuff. You guys have been watching this stuff for many decades, like I have, and a lot of you have. You know that this stuff, they're all tied together. All these people, in some way or another, they got their little different teams. It's like the same league. They're all in the same league, you know. And then maybe they trade their players back and forth. It's like a football league or something like that. The deep state in Israel and all of that, and it's incredible. So anyway, Israel put him in the White House, and Donald Trump has to pay some people back. Obviously, you got to do paybacks. And some of you, there's maybe a few new people out here watching this channel, and I was in military intelligence. I was no way any kind of a spook. I was in the military 7 years, and I was in during the time of Iraq. I didn't get sent to Iraq, so I was in Germany at that time. I was right on the border, on the rock, Wildflecken, someplace that nobody wanted to go. It's supposed to be the worst duty station in all of Germany. And yeah, I pissed some people off. Before that, I was working for the commanding general, directly for the commanding general, the man in charge of all the forces in Europe. And there was like some captain I kind of pissed off a little. I wasn't being willful or nothing like that. But anyway, he wanted to be a general himself or something. I didn't even do it. I tell you, it's not even worth talking about. It's some little stupid thing, and it's like, how did he possibly think that anyway? So anyway, he put something in my record, like, as we know that they do, and then I was supposed to go to Fort Bragg, and the worst duty station there after that time, but I was PCSing. That means permanent change of station, and so I didn't have to go there. And then I re-enlisted afterwards. What do they call it, former service or something, and then that's when I got sent to this one place, and it was an Army intelligence battalion, and blah blah blah. Anyway, but so that's just a little bit of background experience, and seeing, and but I met a lot of politicians. I worked for Colin Powell, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I got autographed pictures. Well, I got one of him, and I got one of Jack Kemp. I like Jack Kemp. We got along, and I got Christmas cards and stuff, but a lot of other generals. I'll show that when I start going inside and I find my papers, and it's like I feel terrible about saying it. I mean, it's like you guys either believe or you don't believe, but just some guy living in Belarus, and I don't know. There's no way that you guys could ever believe me unless I show it to you. I'll show it to you. It's not a problem. you know. So anyway, that's just for some of the new subscribers, a little bit about who I am. And there's more, but we all have big stories when you get to be as old as I am, like 26 years old. You know, get a lot of things, get a lot of experiences in life. Okay, but yeah, I told you about old Tricky Dick Nixon there, and it's strange because that stuff happens every day now. That's just commonplace, and it was considered a big scandal back in those days, and now these people are doing all their cheating. At least it's more exposed and everything. They didn't have the internet back then, but you know, Obama was putting listening devices in Trump Tower, and we all know that. That's how they got what is it, Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn, and you know, found some things which weren't even bad anyway, but they made it look bad, so he had to resign. And so anyway, okay, you talked about old Hillary Clinton. But anyway, a lot of this new information that came out, there's this new stuff, is why everybody's kind of freaking out a little bit. And there's some emails and some messages and things. Some things were redacted, but that was just a bunch of, you know, crappy stuff from the Democrats, you know, which is no big deal anyway. Even the stuff, there's nothing really so bad about Trump, but you can blow things up and make it seem like it's much worse than it actually is. And so these new emails came out, and apparently Donald Trump knew very well that and that's, how could that be news, that Epstein had this problem? I mean, I thought everybody knew that anyway, and I thought everybody knew that Donald Trump knew. And Donald Trump, I think he's even so much as admitted that, but I don't know why it's such big and compelling news now that Donald Trump knew that Epstein was a pedophile like that. And Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump, I don't know who it is. It's people are denying that Epstein was a Mossad agent or a Mossad asset, CIA asset as well. That has been proven. That's been proven he is. So it's not even worth talking about it. I don't know why Donald Trump is coming out with these blatant lies that you know, documented proof that he's lying. So it doesn't, I don't know. I don't even know if it's worth talking about in that way at all. But Donald Trump or any of these politicians, you know, they piss in your face and they tell you that it's raining, you know. I don't know why Donald Trump doesn't just want to come out and out into the clear and just tell the truth about all this stuff instead of covering up for these donors. But maybe he should just come right out and say, you know, I'm covering up for political and rich donors and things like that for the betterment of the United States. But he doesn't do that. This is a lot of people walking here. I might try to find some other place. I don't like to draw too much attention. You know, I speak in English and maybe people think I'm some kind of a spy or something. But anyway, Trump is losing his ability to tell us it's raining, you know. I think, to me, a lot of people said it started with this Epstein stuff, that you know, he lost most of his, and it's probably true, that's where he lost most of his base. But if you remember back in his first term, when these vaccines were coming out, and Donald Trump was saying how great they are, and everybody was booing, his own people were booing him. They were booing him, you know, at his MAGA rallies, when Donald Trump was saying how great the vaccines are and all that. So, to me, that's when people started opening up their eyes a little bit about it. I mean, me, that's one of them. So, because I, you know, an experimental vaccine. So what else? Jimmy Dore, of course, agrees with me. Candace Owens agrees with me on that, about the vaccine thing. But Candace Owens was also saying that mostly it's when he started losing his base, mostly when he was talking this Epstein stuff and saying it's a big hoax. Epstein who? You know, Candace Owens is on the record for saying that. There is another it was a great interview. It's just, I think yesterday, it was between George Galloway and Max Blumenthal. Max Blumenthal is always fantastic. Max Blumenthal, he not only knows a lot about Israel, I don't know so much of, he knows that much really about Ukraine. He's definitely up on about everything, but he knows a lot. He's one of the biggest experts on Venezuela, believe it or not. And so he gives you far more information than you know what to do with. But he is even saying that Israel is implicated in all of this stuff going on with Venezuela. And I said that, I think it was yesterday in a video or the day before, and I was thinking, I'm wondering if this is, and yeah, lo and behold, the next day Max Blumenthal said, yeah, there is a tie. He didn't really go into what this tie is, but I know there were ties in the old days. It was with the weapons trade, but that's way back in the 1980s and all that. And I think that was even coming out also in that Oliver North thing, you know, during the Reagan years. And I met Ronald Reagan. That was one of my most prideful things. It was just only for a little bit. I got to sit next to him eating dinner in this little strange. It was a farmhouse restaurant that was rated very high in the Michelin guides, and it was like surrounded. It was easy to protect, and that's one reason why that I guess he went there, because there was nothing but fields all around, fields that didn't have trees or anything. It was like you could just stand and look out a window and you could see a huge area if anybody was going to attack you or nothing like that. And there was only two roads, one on one side, which is a distance away, and the other one, it did have some woods. Wait a minute, it did have some woods by that one, but that was a little ways away from that farmhouse and where that other road was at. And so anyway, but he didn't really talk to me. I sat next to him and he was just telling jokes a lot of the time. I don't even know how he could have eaten his dinner when he's telling jokes, but he was able to do that. So, okay, now what was some of the big takeaways? You should watch that. That's a very good video. It reveals a lot of stuff with George Galloway and Max Blumenthal. But a takeaway from that is that Trump is working for Israel. That's a big takeaway. And who else has said that? Oh, Candace Owens. She said, Washington is occupied by Israel. Dave Smith said that. And now Max Blumenthal said that. And of course, George Galloway agrees with that. I mean, but it's been that way for a long time. The only one that had a little bit of resistance, believe it or not, to Israel was Barack Obama. I don't really like even Barack Obama. I mean, the drone president, the banker's president, and all that. But I'm starting to wonder now, do I dislike Obama more, or do I dislike Trump more? Now, terrible. And I was hopeful with Trump. Terrible. So, and now that it's implicated somehow with Venezuela, so is he going to go to war against Venezuela on behalf of Israel? That's going to be interesting. If a person really looks into that, I guess the best one to be doing that would be Max Blumenthal. I hope he's going to come out with something pretty soon, talking about how they tie in. Okay. But I already mentioned a little bit earlier in this video that it was obvious that Israel put Donald Trump in the White House. Israel more than anything. Of course, Marion Adelson, I think Sheldon Adelson was still alive back then. All these other Koch brothers, all this kind of Koch brother, I don't know, whatever. Did I say that? Ooh, am I allowed to say that? And anyway, but all these people that are big money people. Yes, but anyway, it's obvious Donald Trump is working to protect the pedophile elite. And obviously Israel is involved in that too. It's sort of like everything, all the roads lead to Israel. All roads lead to Israel. There's even a little bit more I have to say about that a little bit later on. Yes. But one of the big pictures is, as you all see, it is this, everybody's accusing everybody else of wanting to go to war. The European Union says Russia wants to go to war. Zelensky says that every friggin' interview. Oh, they don't want peace. They don't want my peace plan. They don't want a peace plan. I always come up with a peace plan, and they don't like my peace plan. But it's actually Zelensky that's doing it. We all know that. Anyway, Zelensky wants to, sure, he wants an end to the war. Sure he does. But he wants it. He wants to be the winner of the war. And of course, he says Russia started it. He was really happy yesterday on that interview. I think it was with Bloomberg. And he's happy and all that. And he's basically said in that interview that, well, he's hinting that Donald Trump or the United States government, it really probably has to come from Congress, from the lower house, I think in that instance, that they are going to, well, that they've already approved. I've heard that. I mentioned that already 2 or 3 videos ago that the United States was leaning towards saying that Zelensky, or which means probably maybe 2/3 of the frozen assets, should go to Ukraine. And I don't know, the United States doesn't have that many frozen assets of Russia's, but the European Union has a lot more through that Euroclear. And Zelensky, I guess in that same interview, he is saying that he's going to get more than 140 billion euros. So, and he's very optimistic about that. So I don't know who's been talking to Zelensky. Anyway, he was in a very good mood, as I say. But anyway, everybody's accusing everybody else of wanting to go to war. Even look at China and Taiwan. You want war? No, you want war. And I don't know. The Koreas, North Korea, South Korea, Japan. I don't know. Yeah. And Mark Levine. We love Mark Levine, don't we? And he says that everybody's trying to kill Israel, and everybody's always, throughout all of history, trying to kill Israel. You know, I mean, yeah. I think he came out, he was saying, and it was like, it was some big criticism against Tucker Carlson. Everybody's trying to bury Tucker Carlson now, for some odd reason. Tucker Carlson, maybe he's too much of a humanist. And even this Mamdani, even though there's things, I saw some things I didn't like about him, you know, sort of, it's just political crap anyway. But I don't know. A lot of the big guys hate him. And but anyway, I don't find him that unappealing. He said that everybody's been trying to kill the Jews, is what he was saying, not Israel. But he means Israel, of course. He said the Persians, and probably Amalek, whoever the heck that is, Amalek, and the Romans, and Hitler, and Iran today. You know, they're trying to build a nuclear weapon to blow up Israel off the map, which, by the way, is something that they invented that phrase, as you guys know. Nobody ever said that. Nobody ever said that they want to blow Israel off the map. And I mentioned that in videos. I don't want to keep repetitive for those of you that watch a lot of my videos, but that was just a fabrication. It was a quote. Well, actually, what it was is, who was it? Ahmadinejad. He said, he was quoting Khomeini, that said that the Zionist regime in the Middle East will fade from the pages of time. And the Israelis, and I guess they did it through a Iranian paper, they mistranslated the Farsi, which is their language, into saying that they want to blow Israel off the map, and which of course never was said. So anyhow, but that's always interesting to keep reminding everybody. Okay. So you got to keep sending that money. You got to send, he's probably saying that, Mark Levine, you got to keep sending all that money to Israel. And the United States sends lots of billions and billions and billions and billions and billions, like Carl Sagan would say. And something just came out also. I think it was just yesterday. It was just revealed with Olaf Scholz. And he, from his own mouth, if you guys remember that the German chancellor, he dismissed his cabinet, what was it, just few months before the election. And he said the reason why he dismissed them is because they did not want to send $17 billion to Ukraine. He had a proposal to send $17 billion and they didn't approve of it, his own cabinet. So that's why he dismissed them all before that. Incredible. I don't know who he left up, if he left anybody in there, because anyway. Okay, now let's get into this corruption stuff, what's going on in Ukraine here a little bit. With this anti-corruption bureau, and I think a lot of this has to do with the FBI, demanding that. And, in Europe, you can't go into the European Union. You got to curb a lot of that corruption. And everybody talks about it. Some say Ukraine is the most corrupt country on planet Earth, and some just say it's the most corrupt country in Europe. But it's very corrupt, and I've even known that it was corrupt during the Soviet Union years, because I remember people telling me that, oh, don't you don't want to live in Ukraine? I mean, don't ever think of that place to, It's so. But I mentioned this one guy, Mindik, and it's like, was it Zuckerberg? What's his name? Oh, did I write his name down? Someone like Zuckerman or something like that. But I might have wrote it down here somewhere. But it was some of these guys that are his corruption buddies. And I think I wrote it down here towards the back. I know I did. I know what I did. I know it. Zuckerman. Yeah, Zuckerman. And I wrote a little bit more about it back here at the back, because something just came out. It just came out in less than an hour ago. So I'll be putting out what that news is as well. So, but... Anyway, Mindik, I guess, he's the guy that has that gold toilet. I'm not saying gold plated. I'm not saying a gold toilet seat like Donald Trump has. This guy did one better. He has the entire toilet. The entire toilet is gold, I guess, and it's rated to be solid gold. Can you imagine what that thing is worth? A billion. And I don't know. They said toilets. They said it in plural. So does he have more than one? I mean, you can only sit on one at a time. But anyway. Maybe he's got family. Gold, solid gold toilets. Holy smokeronis, baby. $1 billion toilet seat to put refuge in. Jeez. Stolen so much money. Isn't that incredible? There's a lot of people, Ukrainians. So a lot of people are saying, I guess, what was it, some... Spectator, some sort of a publication, are saying that this will probably bring Zelensky down because of all of this corruption. And Zelensky's been turning a blind eye to all of it. He knows very well this Mindik and Zuckerman, they're very, very close. They're financiers and his business partners. They're probably some of the ones that run all of his luxury mansions all over the place. Maybe his businesses, his mining business, his wining business. So he's got a winery in Italy. Big acreage with a winery on it, and he owns the majority of the mining industry in South Africa. He's got a casino in Cyprus, and who knows what else this guy has. Those are just the things that have unfortunately come to light, because he wasn't able to cover it up. And a lot of times these things are done, like I think the casino is done in his wife's name, and let's see, there's a casino, and some of it is done. Maybe even these guys' names, or the firm. So he also, he owns a firm, and the firm is what buys sometimes a lot of these assets that Zelensky has. That includes a lot of his mansions all over the world. He owns what he bought that big royal family park area. A big whatever it is, a hunting lodge thing, but it's really luxurious, and from Prince Charles. King Charles. I don't know if it was it before that. I think he was King Charles already, and then he bought a house on Baker Street. Where, the fictitious Sherlock Holmes used to work out of. By the way, I saw a Sherlock Holmes movie last night. How appropriate to be talking about this. Okay, and all this corruption is absolutely incredible. And France 24. I guess it's probably a very pro, and matter of fact, you have to be pro Ukraine in Europe. You're not allowed to be talking bad about them. So anyway, but now they're even reporting about the massive corruption of Zelensky and all of his buddies and stuff. So that's really coming out. Yes. Oh, just a little bit of information, because it came up about that same time. Yesterday, 2 of the IDF soldiers involved in that gang rape of that Palestinian detainee, apparently they were found innocent or something like that, and it's on camera. So it's like oh, they're innocent. Oh, nothing happened. Oh, this is a hoax. Oh, this is just made up, and this is a fabrication by the Democrat. I mean, by the is a fabrication, and it's on video. And I even saw part of the video, or two parts of it anyway. There's one little part towards the beginning, and then afterwards. And I mentioned already before that there was the top lawyer for the IDF, for the Israeli Defense Force, for their military. She's the one that leaked this video. And it's really, really disgusting, unfortunately, that, I mean, they didn't show them sticking big poles and things, and they really messed this guy up, his insides and things like that. Really terrible. And I don't know if the guy's still in intensive care or whatever from them doing this stuff to this Palestinian prisoner. And, you know, they were trying to put things up so that the cameras couldn't see and all that, but it's really, anyway, I'm not saying that I saw them doing that, but they were all standing and blocking the camera. They had like shields up and things to make sure that the camera couldn't see it. And you had all these soldiers, you see all their boots and everything, and you know, and somebody moving, doing something to somebody in there. Like, I don't know if they had yelling and stuff like that. People, guys screaming in pain. I don't know. But anyway, this I guess this is a Force 100. It's probably sort of like the Azov Battalion. As you know, there's very little difference. You can't see any light between this ideology in Israel. That's, you know, technically speaking, they're Zion-Nazis. They're Zionist Nazis. They're Nazis. The Israeli, unfortunately, that ideology. I'm not saying all Israelis. I'm saying this ideology inside of Israel. Those that support this. They're Zionist Nazis, and they do everything no different than what Adolf Hitler was all doing, and then they take offense when they're called Nazis, but they're Nazis. They're just plain Nazis. And the Banderites, you know, this ideology that they infected a lot of people in Ukraine with, even today. And as a matter of fact, it probably gets bigger and bigger. And there's a lot of these people that have this ideology in the Baltic states. There's some in Poland. And it's weird, they got this paradox in Poland that there's some people that are actual Nazis, and yet they hate the Nazis. They hate their history. They hate the history of the former Nazis, but now they're the neo-Nazis. So this is a neo-Nazi. They're true neo-Nazis, some of those in Poland, those people that believe in that way. But the other ones, like, you know, who is it? Maya Sandow. She's the leader of Moldova. She's a Nazi. She's a big Nazi, and she worships the Nazis. And she says they are the liberators. They were trying to liberate Moldova, and I mean, or whatever, back in those days. So she loves the Nazis and comes right out and admits it. And it's not like, remember Justin Trudeau when he was honoring that Nazi in the Canadian Parliament, and he got standing ovations with the Zelensky there and all that. This guy that was what was he in the SS? He was an SS Nazi, and he had killed people. You know, had killed innocent people, and yeah. So that's what's going on nowadays, anyway. So, but I guess in Israel, this Force 100 is like the Azov Battalion or something. Which are a bunch of cowards now. I guess most of the good ones are already gone. I think a lot of them, they say they don't want to go fight or anything. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. I don't know. Maybe they have other reasons. But yeah. So now Epstein, let's go back. Trump says I already said that. He's always saying it's a hoax. He put out another tweet that says that it's a hoax. And Zelensky, yeah, it's like Zelensky. Zelensky says that even these encircled troops, that's a hoax too. And all of his corruption is nothing but a hoax. So they're all lies. They're lies, lies, lies. Everything is a lie. You know? Embattled politicians. So a lot of stuff going on like that today. Everybody's denying whatever they did. And, you know, Israel denying that guy was raped. So I don't know, how did he get his insides torn out anyhow, this guy? Very strange. Anyway. There's another one. It is Macron. Emmanuel Macron. Now he's coming out. There was some sort of a speech, a whole bunch of people around. And they have it on video. And he's saying, you remember when they had this bed bug thing? There was a bunch of bed bugs all over in France, and it really did terrible damage to their tourism. So old Macron is out there and saying, Russia did it. I don't know if they're saying that Russia put any bed bugs in there. I don't said don't let the bed bugs bite, but I think he's basically saying it's a hoax and there were no bed bugs or something. But Russia's not the one that was saying it. It was France themselves. So I guess maybe those people decided they... They scared the crap out of me. But anyway, maybe... where was I at? I don't know. So maybe... oh no, I think it was the Russians were... It was this cognitive warfare. They took over the minds, apparently, of the French people, and they thought that they were Russians, so they decided that they're going to say that there's bed bugs or something, I guess. I don't know what Macron is getting at there. Yeah. Okay. I already mentioned that old thing about that. Yeah, Trump he was saying, I guess what his exact words were, meaning that that the Democrats are doing a wag the dog, is that I think maybe I did say that. I said that they're saying that talking about this Epstein thing because they want to cover up for all their failures. So I mean, it doesn't make any sense. That's just Donald Trump. Donald Trump being Donald Trump, I guess. And I don't know. Again, I gotta keep saying I hope he doesn't start bombing Venezuela to wag the dog. Steve Bannon came out, the old guy that, well, not that old, but the guy that made Trump what he was in his first term, put him in the White House for the first time, the strategist. He said that AI, and this is true, AI is, well, depending on your religion, I guess, it's a challenge to God and the human brain, of course. And it really is when you think about it. So a part of that, the evidence for that is they have this #1 hit now on the country music charts, apparently. I'm not in the States, I don't have any idea, but it's supposed to say "Walk My Walk." And that's AI. Apparently there's no guy singing it or something. It's some created voice, I guess. Created words and everything. It's incredible. So the #1 hit is artificial intelligence. And a friend of mine, he was saying, he sent me some, matter of fact, he sent a video even. He sent of these beautiful girls in my living room, in there talking about me and stuff. I couldn't believe it. And it's like, it looked real. So you can't even tell anymore. And I'll tell you, it's not going to be too long when you're going to have AI artists, AI authors, writing books. I like I said, I knew a guy. I mentioned that in one video. I knew a guy, and I still know him. He lives here in Minsk, and he wrote a book, about some of his experience when he was when he was working in the military, in kind of like special kind of a thing, doing some special stuff in the military. Involved millions and millions of dollars. And but it makes it sound like he is Bruce Willis or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Chuck Norris, all wrapped into one. It's incredible. I mean, it's like he sent me something like a chapter. I said, "Man, did you write this? This is really good," and stuff. And he never admitted, but somebody else told me that he admitted to them that it's AI, because he can't write that good at all. Not at all. So, and because I've seen some of his writing since then, and that's absolutely true. He can't write like that. Wow. So you're going to see the best artists in the world, and a new Leonardo DiCaprio, Da Vinci, and Michelangelo, and Masaccio. We're going to see a lot of that stuff. They're going to be AI people. It's unbelievable. Performers. You're going to even see performers. Like if that guy put these beautiful girls in my living room, you're going to see performers. You're going to see top models. Matter of fact, I guess there's some Japanese gal. I would never. I didn't find her that anything that for me anyway. And she married her AI boyfriend. However, that's possible in Japan. I don't know. I guess that's when you're big in Japan. She was kind of big. pretty heavy lady, but she was big in Japan, so she got to marry her AI boyfriend. I guess that's how that goes. And you see that Amazon is now laying off a lot of people, and they're putting robots in, and you see some films where there's robots working in factories and things in China and all. And if you know Xiaomi, that cell phone company mostly, well, they make cars too, and I think they put out this was some unusual number, 2,000 cars a day or something, or was it a month? It's some incredible number. And one person works in the factory, and all the rest is done by robotics. They build the entire car. Wow. What the world is going to be coming to. Jobs, and I'll tell you what, I'm a dental technician by trade, and even here in Belarus, I guess the dentist was saying that it's like a maybe 3D printer or something like that. It's actually making the crowns and bridges and things. So it's like if I even want to go, I'd have to get some little laboratory or something, and I don't really want to work with all those chemicals anymore, but that's anyhow. So Elon Musk, I believe, was the guy that's talking about making an entire army of robots, soldiers. So that's coming, baby. That's coming, and it's not going to be too long from now, I'm guessing. You already have them. There's a robot that mops the floors in the building center where I was at. I don't know. Do I have that video? I don't know. Maybe I could put it up in a short or something like that. I still haven't, but I don't know. Okay. So I already mentioned that. I tell you what, that really got me. Seeing Zelensky, like a little child, just got an A in his history lesson or something like that. So happy, he's saying he's going to get more than 140 billion euros. Wow. He seems sure of it. Okay. Okay, these assets. Zelensky was made apparently by his corruption bureau that is run from outside of his borders, apparently, that he was made to freeze the assets, just like the frozen assets of Russia. So he's temporarily blocked these assets of this Zuckerman and Mindik for right now. Mindlik. So we'll see. He's gonna, because they're I think one of them is called Zelensky's Wallet, and anyway, these are the guys. These are his real business partners. It's not like this Kolomoisky. You remember about Kolomoisky, who also made Zelensky who Zelensky is, and he shafted him, and I don't know whatever happened to that guy, Kolomoisky. And he's Jewish, and he's the one that funded the Azov battalion, which are Nazis. If that makes any sense to you. It does. It's making sense to me now, because anyhow. But one way it makes sense is if you got to realize that, I guess this there's a dog coming here. This Zuckerman and Mindlik are listed as Israeli. They're not listed as Ukrainian. So these are Israelis, apparently. I don't know if they really are Israelis or if they're half Israeli. Like Zelensky himself, his parents, he bought a house. That was one of his first big purchases, is a big, huge estate in Israel for his parents. Look at this dog. Wow. Pretty dog. Oh, looks like he's friendly. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, that's about all I have right now, I think. Also, I have to say, the talks between Russia and Ukraine have been broken off. And if you say, well, what is the reason for that? I mean, obviously, I don't think we're going to go anywhere anyway, at least not at this point in time. I guess you have to go to the last Ukrainian before it's actually going to start to work. But apparently, the Ukrainians have said why they broke off the talks with Russia. And they said it's because Russia was giving them a history lesson. They brought up history. And they started out by saying, I guess maybe it was in one day, when they went for talks or whatever, the Russians came up and they said that what's going on right now is that Russians are killing Russians, and the Ukrainians didn't like that, because as you know, they're trying to make themselves out to be different, something different than Russians. And how many times did I put in my videos that the first Russians, the first time anybody was referred to as being a Russian, were people that were governed from Kiev. So it was called Kievan Rus, and those were called Russians. People that came under the jurisdiction of the people in Kiev were called Russians. And that was the first capital of Russia, was Kiev. And then it went to what, Novgorod or some 2 other places before it actually settled on Moscow. So that is history. And they don't like the history. So the Ukrainians, they're notorious for making up their own history. You guys all know that. I've said it. How many times have I got to say that? They say they dug out the Black Sea with their bare hands. And that even like all the way down to Sochi, that belonged to Ukraine at one time. And the Ukrainians, the ancient Ukrainians, also built the pyramids of Egypt. They go on. And then when you really look at where Ukraine really was, it was like around Lvov area. And traditionally speaking, if you want to put it that way, you know, those are people. And Ukraine is a Russian word. Ukraine means on the edge, which means on the edge of the empire. So you would think that the first thing that they would do, if they consider themselves something superior and something different, is to change the name. Who would want to call your country on the edge? You want to be called as on the edge, and then you would ask yourself, well, on the edge of what? On the edge of anticipation or excitement or what? Well, no, it was on the edge of Russia, you know? So that's what it's all about. Anyway, you can talk all day about this kind of stuff, but I guess it doesn't make any sense to those people. They got so angry. Obviously, they got angry because they know that it's all true. So that's why they stormed out and broke off the negotiations with Russia. And that's what it's all about. And that's all I have to say for today, everybody. And I hope, oh, I should mention something about YouTube, you know. It was weird. I had a video just the day before yesterday, and I think now it's got like over 320 views. And on that video, I was crying and whining and like a crybaby and talking about, you know, how my views, it was like, at one time it was like 44 views, and then it went down to 33, and it went from 33, it went down to 23, and I'm sitting in all this sometimes within the space of like 3 minutes. And I said, what the friggin' crap is going on here? You know what? I mean, I got this many, and then I got way down this many, and then it went up to 46. You know, after it was at 23, and 1 minute later, not even that, it went up to 46 within the same minute, because I was looking at that, and I said to my wife, I said, look at this. Now it says I only got 23 views, and you know, she was looking at it, and then I looked on this other phone, and then it was 46, and just before it was, I don't know. And then somebody wrote to me, and I don't know if they were joking or kind of whatever, and they were saying that some sort of a deal. That somehow I'm wrong or something like that. I don't know. I kind of wish I was, because it makes no sense to me. And then lo and behold, on that same video, which was the one day before yesterday, you'll see my little things on there saying now it's 23, now it's 46, and now it's, I don't know, switching around like that. And well, let's see, what was I saying? It was yeah, the views were all changing, and what I was going to say, it's a very strange video, because I think, like it says, 320 something views, but only 22 likes. And I was looking at, you know, to other people, and I'm starting to like say, well, what is it? Normally it's like about 25%. So if it was, I don't know, maybe I should have 80 likes. So if somebody did post this on some other channel or something, maybe it's something that I said that they didn't like, so they were putting me as a villain. But then I would have gotten a lot more nasty remarks on there. I'm kind of thinking, you know, since I was complaining and I was asking YouTube in the comments, I said, what are you guys doing? Look at, what are you doing with these numbers and these views? I'm kind of thinking they put a bunch of fake views. So maybe I actually had, 150 views altogether, if they just kind of let it go on its own, instead of always stealing the views away from me to make it look like it's a worse channel than what it really is. So then they decided this time they're going to add some extra views. I'm just thinking, I tell you what, I'm so, I don't know, I'm lost in what the heck goes on YouTube. And I've also mentioned other people that were in Belarus, the Irish partisan, and I think her name is Anfisa or something. She left to a different country, and she had some very good videos showing the party life in Minsk. And Irish partisan, he was here for years going, and then when his last video, when he was in they don't send me notifications even if I'm subscribed to him. So I don't know if he came up with any videos after that. I even saved that video. So he's talking about how they, every time he puts up a video, he loses subscribers. So they do some strange things that depending on who you are, I guess. And it's really weird. I hardly lose subscribers. Now I might have gained a couple subscribers from that one video. They might even be fake subscribers. I don't know. I don't understand what YouTube does and what the heck. And you lose some subscribers. I don't know. I don't understand it all. So, but I just wanted to put that out. And I don't know if it's whining or crying or I don't know, I'm just mixed up. I don't know on what's going on. So anyhow, that's all I have for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.